There we go. Hello. No pressure. Bankers has been great to me and my family. They've done a great job working with some people you all may know. About the time I joined Bankers, I would turn on the radio and we would hear people like Paul Harvey. This is the rest of the story. Some of you know that. And he endorsed Bankers Life. And if you know about Paul Harvey, he did not talk about companies unless he really felt passionate about them. So I just really believe in what we do and who we work with. We're able to work and educate folks on the complicated topic that is Medicare, which is an ever-changing topic. And we do both Medicare supplements as well as Advantage plans and try to make that transition easy for folks. So Alex Trebek, another name you guys may know. He did a lot of good marketing with Bankers Life. Dick Van Dyke back in the day and some old names. But we definitely are not the biggest, fanciest company out there. And honestly, I like that. We don't spend $20 million on a Super Bowl commercial. Rather, they invest it back in our agents and our policyholders. So there's been a lot of talk about this new long-term care tax and ways and solutions to get around it. It's getting more and more difficult. But if you're over age 50 and you want some advice on that, then come see me. Under 50, honestly, we got out of that market, so it's harder and harder to solve. But I do like the fact that Bankers, instead of walking away from it altogether like many companies, they really tried to stay focused on the group that's impacted the most, which is right in their 50s and 60s. So it's exciting to meet new business contacts and be able to meet new local people here in our community. What a great, exciting group. Some of your faces I've seen a couple times, so some are brand new. So Bankers has done a pretty incredible job working with the local and national chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. Raised millions of dollars working with them. So if you see any guys and gals out in green aprons handing out forget-me-not seeds for donations, that's Bankers Life. So throw a buck at them if you would. Any questions for me? As a lot have been wondering about the new tax and different things. Do you guys have any? I'm pretty good at shooting from the hip, so if you guys have any questions, I'd maybe answer for you. Yeah.
So I don't have a question, and I haven't worked with Mike, but most of you know that I've been in the senior industry for a really long time, and I have a Bankers Life person that I've worked with over in University Place in Tacoma, and I got to tell you, if you have somebody who's struggling with what to do with Medicare, which plan to choose for their situation, because if you're on Medicare, you're supposed to look at it every single year to make a change, and my Bankers Life person has been fantastic in helping all kinds of people direct what that looks like and what plan's best for them in any given year.
I'm very happy to
I'm
hear
sure
that.
that Mike would be equally as knowledgeable.
Yeah, well, the truth is I helped train almost all the agents there, so they're all good. Thank you for that endorsement. Yes.
I have a question. What age do you need to start looking at that?
64 and a half.
At the Medicare?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
64 and a half unless you have a disability. Sometimes people will get on Medicare early due to certain disabilities. But one of the biggest changes recently and why we're forced to look at these plans almost every year is the prescription drug plans. So many years ago they came out with Medicare endorsed prescription drug plans or Medicare Part D. And this is a ever-changing target, and somebody might have a great prescription drug plan one year, and then the next year they're like, why am I getting all these bills?
Or you get a new diagnosis.
Yeah.
You get a new diagnosis and it changes. So.
Doctors' networks change and approve and disapprove plans every year. So I got my whole team doing their 2022 Medicare endorsements now so that we're not up against the gun and trying to wing it. I want these guys to be good and know what they're doing. So, we kind of take a lot of pride in what we do and love to help. So we can't do it without you guys.
Long-term health care, if we're going to buy our own policy, is there a deadline that we have to do that before the tax comes into play?
Now. Here's why.
But they have to be over 50.
Right.
Now they do. Yeah, I think a buddy of mine with Nationwide does some work for people under age 50. Here's the problem. In a matter of days, we overloaded our underwriters with about 3,000 applications, and now the risk is so great with long-term care already that insurance companies don't love that kind of business. So in short, if they don't want to sell it, it may be the one thing you should look at if there's assets to protect. So the reason I said now, you're like, of course you're in sales. Don't they all say that? The reason I said now is it's taking about 60 to 70 days in most time to get an application from start to finish, because there's medical records and face-to-face interviews or telephone interviews, and all that has to be done ahead of time. Then the cutoff is you have to have a policy issued by November 1st if you're going to have a privately owned policy. And as we get into September, it starts to get harder and harder to ensure that that's going to get done. So yeah, sooner than later. Sooner than later. We do have a pretty competitive program for anyone 50 years or older that is a kind of a fast track where there's not near the underwriting, and the price is a little bit more competitive too. So do some checking into that if you have questions. But yeah, any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, so I echo that about the long-term care. It's important to do now. I got a quote just for reference, and it was going to be $1,100 a year because I'm 61. And then my W-2 income, it was only going to take $300 a year. So I just elected to keep with my situation I've got now. But I won't see any of it because you have to be on it 10 years. So unless I work on 71, maybe I will.
And if you move out of the state, right? You
And
can
you
do
guys,
that.
you know, it's not, it's not a reasonable deal.
You can use it.
Yeah.
So,
No.
There's a graduated piece in there.
Terry, not the insurance, the state.
So
I'll talk to you.
my question though is, if I have insurance and I'm keeping on working and my husband is, approaching 65, do I have to do something about him if he's still on my insurance, or can I just wait till I retire?
You're not talking the tax. You're talking about just healthcare in general.
Yeah, I'm switching gears.
Okay, no worries. I just want to make sure I was dancing. All right.
So then, do I have to like enroll him when he's 65? If he's already on my
He's going to be automatically, if he's drawing Social Security, then he'll be automatically enrolled in both Medicare A and B, which is actually a problem because A is free. Medicare B costs $148.50 right now. And so if you do not sign the back of that card and send it back waiving his rights to his Medicare Part B, then they'll be auto deducting, and then you'll kind of have more insurance than you really need.
But isn't that only if he's collecting Social Security?
Exactly.
So if you defer your Social Security, then.
Well,
it
so
doesn't
he
matter.
is, so I
Yeah.
need to sign the form and say I don't want them to give him B, because he already has my.
Correct.
Oh, aren't you
Yes.
handy? Thank you.
Yeah.
You handy.
Try to be. Try to be. It's actually a very good question. I get that a lot. And I think if we were to go around and audit how many people were actually paying for their Medicare Part B and still paying for work insurance, it's probably kind of disgusting. It's there's a lot of people paying on that they don't need to be.
Can I throw one more thing out?
Please.
The reason I used to send so many people to the Maker's Life Prison, obviously was Medicare and Medicaid kind of questions, but qualifying events, where, you know how like you have a qualifying event during the year, you can change your insurance, you have a baby, somebody dies, whatever. Qualifying events also, and correct me if I'm wrong, are things like change of living situation. So somebody goes into a rehab place, somebody goes into a, care facility kind of thing. Is it still the opportunity to change their insurance?
Yes, actually, a lot of people think I'm stuck in this plan, like on an Advantage plan. They may think I'm stuck here for the whole year. They don't realize that there are very unique things that allow people to make adjustments to their plan. There are special enrollment periods, and so maybe they're on one and they have large deductibles or copays, or one of the more common things that's a deal now is if you're on Medicaid, DSHS low income subsidy, and people are having insurance, it's common right now that they are kicked off of the Medicaid temporarily and no one tells them. So their health care isn't doing anything for them, their health care insurance program. because it's designed to mirror Medicaid. Well, if they lose Medicaid, and so I've been seeing that more and more. And so to be able to have someone where they could pick up the phone and say, hey, what the heck is going on with this, helps a ton. So it's not just about big insurance premiums and making big commissions. Bankers does a really good job paying claims and helping educate local people in the community here. So anytime you got a question, guys, feel free to shoot me a text, look me up on Facebook, text me on there privately, or give me a call. I usually got a crew with me here. My job is, I've got some business cards, I'll grab some more. But my job is to help build their business. I got a young, excited group of people trying to educate folks. And so I would usually say go to them first, but I'll get you my card today. If you see Josh, Tyson, and Jalen, then definitely look them up as well. But we're always happy to help. Go ahead.
Oh, I just have an endorsement for Josh.
Oh, great.
So I'm the under 50 crew, right? And you guys, there was a cutoff. He called me the day before and was like, you need to do this today if you want to do it, and was able to get me in before the cutoff. So we're definitely keeping track of people they're talking to and working with and trying to do the best for people.
Yeah, now
So I'm
we're
in.
up. I love it. I love it. And now we're up against this cutoff where we have 2,000 applications in the queue, and we're trying to get them all issued before the deadline. So definitely happy to help. Yes.
So, if you have long-term care, how do you prove it? Who do you prove it to?
So in the bill, that's a good question. She asked that if some of you didn't hear, if you have long-term care insurance and the November 1st date hits, what do you do? Who do you prove it to? Well, they're going to have a form that you turn into your HR department, proving that you have a private long-term care policy. There's a lot of dilemma with this because there is no long-term, and we're just talking with Miriam about it briefly. As of now, there's no program written into the bill that makes people prove coverage in the future. Do you see a problem with that?
Yeah.
And don't do this to Josh, but you could buy a policy as of now, keep it through the November 1st deadline, and then allegedly drop it. My thing is, when's the last time that the IRS said you don't have to prove anything anymore? They're gonna follow up with this, and people that do that are gonna get burned, and then they'll be put back in and forced to pay the tax. So I tell folks, don't buy a policy with that intention. Plus, oddly enough, you might think, well, because of the price of long-term care insurance, these guys must be making a killing. The answer is no. They're terrified of this risk. And they don't even generate a nickel of profit until the third year. Not that we're all worried about Big Brother and their profits, I know, but this thing, if not managed correctly, it could really hurt the insurance company. So we're kind of like, we're trying to be in this with you and try to educate folks, along the way. But November 1st, yeah.
So I'm an insurance broker. I'm independent, but I do everything that you do. I do
Love it.
Medicare, and I help people with Medicare, Medicaid, and life insurance. But I don't do long-term care.
Okay.
So I have already given some referrals to Josh.
Oh, great.
But my whole thing is, I'm past retirement age. This is my retirement career. And I'm actually pretty ignorant about it. I don't know, am I gonna pay that tax with my?
So you're already retired?
Yeah.
So you will be exempt
I'm
from the
exempt.
tax. 1099, full 1099 employees and folks already retired will be exempt.
You
It's,
guys are paying my long-term care.
Yeah.
yes,
Just
yes,
saying.
that's right.
Say thank you, Paula.
But I don't think it's right people don't realize it's just a tax. It's just another tax. So as much as you want to rationalize or intellectualize, it's just another way to tax us, right or wrong. I believe in paying taxes, but sometimes when something like this comes up, I'm like, what the heck is that? So anyway.
And we're all business owners here, right? So this is the problem is for me, it's not that I don't want to pay taxes. I just don't want to pay more than my fair share. And with the bill that was kind of pushed onto us to be able, here's my problem is as I'm out in the community, I'm finding a lot of folks in the 60 to 63 age that are looking at retirement in the next 2 or 3 years, and they're paying into this tax and they will get literally nothing in return. And that needs to be helped, if at all possible.
Well, and in a conversation I had with my financial person who has done research into it, my understanding is some of the common sense that we would like to think for the taxes that do go in, and the people that this is supposed to help, that the way the long-term care money will be dispersed is that in a normal situation, which my friend back here too, your doctor, who is your person who knows your situation, then you get long-term care. With this money, and you normally have to not be able to do two things, like I can't dress myself and I can't bathe myself. What's written into this policy is you have to not be able to do three things, and they are creating a government entity that is going to be able to say that the person does not qualify for long-term care. It is not your doctor. Which makes it right.
So if you have a long-term care policy,
Yes.
you'll find all kinds of nightmares online. And so long-term care claims in general are very difficult to do. And so it's a lot of paperwork, which is why you want to have a local agent help them oversee that process. All private companies are regulated by the state of Washington that says, you're absolutely correct, in order to claim on your policy, you either have to have a cognitive impairment or need help with 2 out of 5 ADLs, which is assistance with daily living, eating, bathing, dressing, incontinence, and moving from bed to a chair. Better get those right?
Yeah.
In front of the group. So the challenge is that, and all states, all companies in the state have that same trigger to use the policy, and why the state thought, oh, we'll build a little bit harder of a way to claim. Not only do you only get $36,000 if you pay into this program for 10 years, but you have to have 3 out of those ADLs in order to get the money out of that tax. So if it was a good bill, I think I would get behind it. But knowing about private planning for long-term care insurance, it is far better for folks to do their own individual planning. And I am excited to see other insurance professionals here and talking about it. I don't know about you, but years ago it was like everyone was fighting for a stake of the pie. But there's so much opportunity with this.
There's
We
more
can't.
than one pie.
That's true. Yeah, we got a bunch of
That
them.
way.
That's right. But we need each other. We all need to help each other through this, because we can't get around to see everybody. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, one other thing. So there was a really unfair, small little tiny insurance law about 5 years ago. Me and a group of agents, we kept talking to the insurance commissioner, and they kept saying, oh no, this is the way it is. So I talked to I'm the constituent. I talked to Hans Zeiger and Steve Kirby and some other people, and they said, oh, that doesn't sound fair. So we went to Olympia and we changed this little tiny law, because it was a law like about 5-6 years ago. I could not write a policy under $25,000. I had to write a $25,000 or up for a final expense. And some people would say, well, can I get a $5,000? Literally, people were dying on me with no life insurance. So we changed it about 5 years ago. So I'm just letting people know that if something seems unfair, you can get a group of people together. It was me and 2 other people, and we just started talking to people that we vote for, and we were able to change a little tiny but very unfair insurance law that was only in Washington. It wasn't in like any other state. So I'm just letting you know that if people here, because I'm fine, because I'm not going to get but if you feel like something is unfair, then you really can change things. We're not helpless. This is a democracy. So I would talk to the people that you vote for, and because the insurance commissioner doesn't care. Because
Their business.
And I talked to the insurance companies, and they go, yeah, you're trying to change this like 500 other people. So I didn't go to the insurance commissioner. I went to the people I voted for, and they're going, oh, that doesn't sound fair. And then we were able to change the law the other way, because the insurance commissioner doesn't care. So I'm just letting you know. And then I was at I earned a trip to Banff, Canada, and I had the executive from one of the insurance companies, and I go, you need to come over here and pat me on the back. You told me, yeah, me and 5 other people. Well, I'm the 501st person. anyway, I'm just letting you know that if there's something unfair, we're not powerless here. If you guys, because I feel like it's an unfair.
Let's change this law then.
Yeah.
Let's
Take this back.
well, whoever, yeah, go to the people that you vote for, and I know we talked at in Olympia. It's funny, my kids were younger and they thought I got a traffic ticket. They go, Mom's in court today. No, I'm just, I'm talking in front of the state. I'm just letting you know that we're not helpless here.
Yeah, well,
We can get it.
I completely agree. We have to take it into our own hands. But never forget that with this annoying topic with this law, the challenge isn't necessarily the law, although as you know, it's not lovely. The bill is a byproduct of a bigger problem, and that is very few people own that kind of insurance. And straight up, if you need help, last week she picked on me, said thanks for bringing the party down or something. The risk on that product and if with our own health is so high that we will need it. That's why this bill was put in play. Although poorly executed, if you do your own planning, nobody's gonna manage your money better than you. You know exactly how much you have. And I visit with 3 groups of people with 10,000 or less of assets. Well, they don't need long-term care insurance. Usually it's life insurance and Medicare programs and stuff like that. Folks that have over 2 million of assets, well, they can oftentimes afford a private insurer. Not that they always want to, but it's that center group, most of us that are right in that middle bracket that are looking to avoid this risk as much as possible, or at least kind of close up the loop on some of that exposure. So I'm not a fan in having 100% insurance. We can be insurance poor, but there is a way to balance that a little bit. So if you're interested, come see me or
Sorry,
Josh.
just one last question.
Anytime.
Is there a minimum amount that you have to carry?
Yes. The state says it's a $36,000 pool of money. So as long as we get a long-term care policy larger than that, then technically it avoids the tax. Here's my challenge on that. And I know the salesman in me will come out, but you can get a program to simply avoid the tax, or you can get one that mirrors your retirement. And if you've got, the more assets you have, the larger policy you need. The state has some unique programs. There is long-term care 1035 programs that allow you to use tax-deferred investments to pay premiums, and you get to pay that with tax-free money. Most advisors aren't even paying attention to that as one way to have insurance without paying a bunch in premiums. So they are looking at some ways to incentivize people being able to have deductible premiums on your income taxes and whatnot. So never forget, that bill is a byproduct of a bigger problem that 70% of people will need it and don't have it.
That's to say, and that's several of you that have engaged in conversation about this exact topic. And also keep in mind, I mean, for instance, I have a whole crew of lower income workers. This is not a bad deal for them. This gives them something that they would never, ever, ever have
Agreed.
or save for. So if we want our own policy and you can afford your own policy, get your own policy because it's a better deal. But keep in mind, it's not really a crappy deal for people who would never save that money.
Yeah, the public awareness on this topic is never a bad thing. I agree. We need all the advocacy we can have on it. So awesome. Well, great questions. I'm glad I studied up. No, just kidding. I'll be here for a bit. And I left some bios about my company. I don't like to brag about myself. It's my company that does all the good work. So I just get to meet people and talk about what we do. So happy to see everybody again. And if anyone needs me, I'll be here. Thank you.